Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was gonna say I am getting up there and names. I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people. Life was never this good. I had to step back. No.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're actually going to talk about going your own way, building that financial freedom for yourself, building that future for yourself, and not necessarily following the advice of others. You know, after my interview with Thomas, and I'm super excited for that interview that has already been out on June 1st. Go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. But after that interview with Thomas, we talked about briefly how he went against the advice of his parents and went into an industry in which it wasn't secure. It wasn't a W-2 job. It was 1099. He had to take that leap of faith for himself, right? And what I noticed is that every time I start to take a step back, it's because I'm listening to other people who are trying to dictate what it is my life should look like. But every time I decide for myself that I'm going to do something, that I'm going to better my life in a certain way, it always, and I mean always, works out in my favor. And so whether that be me going to the Army or buying a home as soon as I got back instead of renting again, whether it be me just considering what it is that I want to do with myself, it always works out for the better for me. And so I remember when I was deciding whether or not I was going to go back to school. I had just graduated college. I was thinking about going the pharmaceutical route and becoming a pharmacist. They stated that I would have to go back and redo one of my courses because the grade wasn't high enough. And so on top of the 3 years that it would take, I would also have to go back and redo just one course, which would take a whole semester. Imagine going back a whole semester just for one course. So that was 3.5 years of my life. And I was just like, why would I go back to school for one semester for just one course? It's not like I can take all these other courses and still kind of graduate on time. No, one course before I can even start pharmaceutical school. I just considered that a scam. I considered that a big scam. And you know what? You could say, hey, you could have done better in school right away initially. And I would say I absolutely agree. But as children, we're not given all of the information that we need in order to be successful. And so when we look at the next generation, we definitely want to instill in them what we didn't necessarily have and what could have been said better or shown better for us to be where we want to be. For example, hey, what it is that you want to study in college, and you start asking these questions in 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. Do you know the requirements? Do you know the GPA you'll need? Do you know what classes you cannot absolutely fail? Have you spoken to these colleges about what the requirements will be? And so when you start to understand what college you want to attend when you're in 11th grade and what grades you'll need when you're in 11th grade, everything else is your oyster. The world is your oyster at that point. You already know what it is that you want to do. And so, you know, when I decided not to go back to school, I have my bachelor's degree. I'm working these several jobs. And I was actually thinking about buying a house in New York. I was going to save up $60,000 and buy my first home in New York. And so I think I might have had like $20,000 saved by the time I decided to go to Miami for vacation, which was December 2019. And instead of going to New Jersey, I ended up moving to Ohio. So again, I was 1/3 of the way there. In New Jersey, I wasn't sure if I was going to need a car because they had train services. I could have bought a rental. I could have rented a place very, very close to the job facility, the job site, so that I don't necessarily have to use a car and things like that. And then I can just order all my food to my house, which would essentially not, I wouldn't need a vehicle. But one thing I did know is that if I was in New Jersey, I'd probably be in New York at least once a month. And so I would have spent money on that front for sure. So going to Ohio, I didn't necessarily go back to New York as often as I did previously. And so that was a different shift for me. That was, just not in the norm. And again, just understanding what was best. So when I spoke to my mom, she was not prepared for what life would be like after college, thinking, hey, maybe you should go back to school. Hey, maybe you should do this and do that. But when she saw my offer letter from Amazon, when she saw how much money I was making and going to be making, she then said, oh, okay, it makes sense. Go ahead, do what you got to do, and I wish you all the best. And since that job opportunity with Amazon, obviously inflation has done its course and done its thing. People are now making just around what I was making at Amazon. And these are regular associates making the same amount of money. And so, times have definitely changed. But with that, I will also say that I was prepared for the changes, right? I was prepared for the changes because when you start to buy assets that go up in value with inflation, like the stock market, like real estate, like Series I bonds, like treasuries, bonds, those assets will be your hedge not only against inflation, but also propel you to where you have more money than inflation itself will erode. And so, again, going against that grain that was initially thought to be the end all be all, and then creating a life for myself in which it is more profitable than whether I was a pharmacist or not. And sometimes I look at my occupation itself and say, man, what if I was a pharmacist? What if I was this? And what if I was that? Then I wouldn't have joined the army, which I do not regret at all. And I wouldn't have had the assets that I have today because I would have still been in school. So I wouldn't have had the 2 houses. I wouldn't have had the tenants. I wouldn't have had all the investments that I have, the 401k that I have, the Roth IRA that I have. I wouldn't have all these things. And so when you look back, you start to say, wow, you've accomplished so much because you took that leap of faith, because you went against, the advice of your parents and you saw a way for yourself. Now, was it the best way to do it? Was it the best thing that I could have done for my life? Maybe, maybe not. The reason why I say that is because you don't know what you don't know. And so Amazon was the best opportunity for me at the time. But if I had just applied to another company that may have offered more of something, then, who's to say what life would have been like? Or who's to say what life would be like? I believe Tesla was around back in 2019. Obviously Walmart, which I wasn't thinking about at the time, Home Depot, Lowe's, so many other bigger named vendors like Allstate. all these companies that were hiring, IBM. And so being a part of that, maybe even interning for certain companies, would have led to so much more financial success and prosperity. But again, who's to tell, who's to know? So I'm glad, super grateful for how things have turned out and how things are going. But I just wanted to say, sometimes you do have to take that leap of faith, believe in yourself, and really determine, is this going to be the best course of action for my life? And if you believe it is, then go for it. Go ahead and do it. I mean, you only have one life to live, so don't let no one else dictate how you live it. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post every single day at 8 a.m. daily on YouTube and on Rumble, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.